Hi, this is Dean Pietramonico, your math instructor for Math 100. And Chapter 6 is really the toughest chapter in the entire book. So I'm going to put some videos on here to try to help you. The first thing, the two rules that are going to be the most important for you to help you make sure that you can get in the A or B range are these two right here. If you see a plus or minus, try to factor, and never cancel when adding or subtracting. And I'll be talking about those as I go through each one of these videos. I would definitely pause this and write that down. If you can follow those two rules, you've got a much better chance of doing well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about simplifying fractions right now. And this is going to be exactly the same. Simplifying fractions will be exactly the same as when we multiply them. And I'll show you that on the next video. But let's say we've got 24/18. This is 6 times 4 if we factor it. So now I'm factoring it. And then this is 3 times 6. And then now, if you notice, anytime I have a factor that's in the top and the bottom, I can cancel that factor. So I can cancel these common factors of 6. It doesn't matter if they're right on top of each other or they're diagonal. It wouldn't matter. And to help us for when we multiply, I want you to notice that 6 times 4 over 3 times 6, we could actually separate that into two fractions if we chose to. And this is really the idea that if we can take one fraction and write it as multiplication, we can take multiplication and write it as one fraction. And we'll use that idea later. Excuse me. Now, let's take this next problem. We have minus 21x squared, y to the 8th, over 18x to the 5th, y squared. Now, if you see a plus or minus, try to factor. Well, there's no pluses or minus, and never cancel when adding or subtracting. Well, we're not adding or subtracting. There's not more than one term. So we can actually just go straight to canceling. So 28 divided by 18, those are regular numbers, and there's a 3 in both those. So that'll be minus 7 over 6. And then there's 2 factors of x on the top and 5 factors of x on the bottom. That's going to leave us with 3 factors of x on the bottom. Now here there's 8 factors of y on the top and 2 factors of y on the bottom. So that's going to leave us with 6 factors of y on the top, and that's our final answer. Now let's take a look at this one. 4x minus 8 over x squared minus 6x plus 8. I want you to notice on this one, there definitely is a plus or minus. So if you see a plus or minus, we're going to try to factor. I say try because sometimes the book will put problems that can't be factored even though they have a plus or minus. So here, 4x minus 8, there is a 4 common to both terms. So we factor out 4x minus 2. And then right here, it's x squared minus 6x plus 8. And we can factor that as x minus 2, x minus 4. And then we can cancel the x minus 2's. And our final answer, which I don't have room to write here, but our final answer is going to be 4 over x minus 4. So actually, it looks like I do have room here, 4 over x minus 4. And that's going to be our final answer. Now, you cannot cancel these 4's, because of this rule. If you see a plus or minus, try to factor. And then the second rule, never cancel when adding or subtracting. You're subtracting right there. And if you plugged a number in for x, like let's say you plugged in 24. Well, 4 over 24 minus 4. If you tried to just cancel those 4's, it would come up with a totally different number. Now let's try this one. This one's a little bit more challenging. This is 3x squared minus 6x. There's a plus or minus. So right away we're going to try to factor. There's a 3x common to both on the top. So 3x, x minus 2. And the bottom, I'm going to factor all this in one fell swoop. And you will need to check your work to see that I did this right. So there's a 3x in everything. So I'm going to factor out the 3x. And then the bottom would then factor as x squared minus, if I completely factored it, it would be x minus 2, x minus 3. And so we then see that the 3x's would cancel, the x minus 2's would cancel, and would be left with 1 over x minus 3. And that would be the final answer. Since everything canceled in the top, I had to use a 1 as a placeholder. Now, when we go to multiplying fractions, we are going to use a lot of these same ideas.